council representative. Motion to open public comment.
Motion.
I'll second.
Does anybody have a comment? Motion to close public comment.
I mean-
Motion.
Okay, we can get out of here faster. Okay. Motion to enter executive session.
Motion. Second.
See, board meeting is designed to be basically, at the time, you're seeing most of these items.
Okay, done.
You know,
It's like,
no surprise.
That's what I'm just like, okay, I'm not jumping up and down.
The annual consent agenda includes a rather long list of routine business items, including compensation rates, staff appointments, professional appointments, annual meeting calendar, investments of funds, approval of unaffiliated staff members, non-certified affiliated staff members, certificated tenured faculty and certificated non-tenured faculty. That's all I'd like to say about that. On the regular consent agenda, there's employment contracts for David Sylvester, Chris Olivo, and Chris Sard. I believe those three are all there, correct?
Yes.
And then there are two HIPs. We'll be talking about those when David Sylvester gets a chance to speak. I wanted to spend some time talking about the preschool expansion aid grant. Most of the districts in this county already have this grant. We do not, and we're looking to just go over some of the details of that grant, just so people have an idea what it's all about. The State of New Jersey funds this important program, the preschool expansion aid, that's to the tune of $124 million statewide. There are 275 districts involved with it. There's a new program for those who are not yet in the program. They're going to budget, the state budgeted at about $20 million additional dollars. That's really where it stands. There are 21 counties. There are districts throughout the state that don't have this. Some of them are interested, but we'll wait and see. The program is designed to cover the costs of 3- and 4-year-old children who do not have individual education plans. Students with individual education plans are the responsibility of the Board of Education. It's a mixed delivery program, which suggests that some programs can be run within the building, while other sections are run by local providers such as Rainbows of Learning. This program is designed to serve students both with and without IEPs. We estimate that we would have approximately 85 students eligible for the program, to include those with IEPs. The way we came up with a number and the way the state recommends you come up with an estimate is take your first grade class and double it. That would be your universe of eligible students. And I do think that's probably a reasonable way to do it. Class size is limited to 15 students, and they're looking for approximately 3, perhaps as many as 4 children with IEPs in that group. This is a full-day program, full-year program, 6 hours a day, 180 days per year. The district must select one of 4 curriculum models to be in the program. Fortunately, one of the programs that is on that list is a program we use, which is called the Creative Curriculum. So there's very little concern in the curricular world here. Funding for the grant supports students without IEPs. The district remains responsible for classified pre-K students, and that's no surprise. The K-3 certificate is acceptable in the program. It's not required in the program, it's acceptable in the program. And special ed certificate is not required in this special program. But again, the K-3, the pre-K-3 works. The special ed is still fine, but you do need the pre-K part of a certificate. One of the critical requirements involves the number of free and reduced students. This is where we run into trouble. Unfortunately, this is an area we're placed in the last of 4 tiers. because our free and reduced lunch is only a little over 8, not quite 9%, I believe. So that puts us in the bottom tier. And one of the ways the state determines funding on these programs is through, the free and reduced lunch. That's a little bit of a disadvantage. But some of the districts who have been funded have somewhat similar numbers as compared to what we have. So there's still a shot. I'm a little concerned with the low figure of 20 million, but we'll work on that. The per student funding for the program is as follows. In District 14-5, 551 per student. For students assigned to provider programs, is a little bit more, 16,355. The PA program can be a phase-in program. Full enrollment is required within 5 years of the start. But I've been in touch with Elaine, how to say her last name? Boucher, thank you. I do apologize, I keep messing that up. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Elaine was telling me that they are very interested in it. They have 2 classrooms that are primed for it, and they also have a large meeting room that could perhaps house 2 more sessions. We are thinking that we may be able to free up 3 classrooms here in the building, which would give us enough classrooms to run the full program, phase the full program in, possibly in year 1. So that's important. There are several staffing requirements that we should be able to manage without major difficulty, including hiring of certified preschool teachers, trained assistants, early childhood supervisor, which could be a shared position among other districts, early childhood coaches, again, which could be shared. Please note that some of these positions can be part-time, coordinated with neighboring districts, or assigned using existing staff. So we have some options in that regard. The applications for this program are coming out on in July. The applications are due in August. Funding determinations will be made in September, and you can start the program in October or later. So I've also spoken to Kevin Newman, who's very interested in this program. As a matter of fact, my understanding that when he was in Hope, they applied and didn't get it. Perhaps because of the size of the school, perhaps because of the socioeconomic conditions in the municipality. I'm not sure, but he did say he did not get that. So just for the board, because this is a formal part of the board meeting. Any questions from board members for me?
I do. Sorry, so for how long, so at any point the state could just decide to stop funding.
They could. They could.
So, and we don't know that, so then what do we do? So what's the backup plan?
Well,
Expand the program.
Well, one of the, I think
know.
when you think about the magnitude of the program, and the fiscal condition of the district, the idea of continuing the program without any funding would not be plausible, in my humble opinion.
Right, so once the 20 million, is it 20 million every year to these programs?
Yeah,
or just-
these are ongoing, my understanding is an ongoing funding program, that is my understanding, yes. And they're planning on, Jamie, if you look at the way they're talking about this, they give you 5 years to roll it out.
Right,
They are planning on continuing this program.
forgive me if I just don't trust the state with.
No, I have two concerns.
Okay,
One is, I understand that they sometimes take funding away. An example is our tutorial grant that we got last year for grade 3 and 4 in-school instruction, for students who needed some little remediation. This year, we're looking for the program, and what they gave us is a list of best practices for the program. No money, just best practice. So that is a problem. I think this is a little different than that. This is a major initiative right now, in the $150 million range, not quite that much. I think it is here to stay for a while. And I do think they believe in it, I believe in it.
So is this instead of giving the schools funding now with the S2 cut, like we're not getting state funding, so now this is the new funding is to get preschool?
Well,
Is that kind of what the state is?
I don't know, I think this is a dedicated initiative by the department.
And
To
what do our,
I did want to add one little thing,
Yeah.
Jamie. One of the things that Chris talks about, and I agree with him, is that what we're dealing with here in Frankfurt is socioeconomics, that the state is looking for us to handle a lot of things locally that, it isn't really feasible for us at this time for a lot of reasons. It could be that this could be a phase-in, phase-out program. I don't think it will be. But I do think that Chris is concerned about the state feeling that if you look at the funding in the county and you look at the bottom 25%, that's where Frankfurt is. And the idea is the state feels that we would
We
be
don't
funding
need
we don't need it, we could do it ourselves. And that isn't the local view by any stretch of imagination, nor should it be. And I get that, I really do get that. And we need to have conversations about how we, and again, I won't be here, but how we plan to deal with this as years roll out. I do think that our families and our students deserve us to give this a shot. This is my humble opinion. I think people should know from the very beginning that if this money somehow dries up, which I don't think will happen for a while, the program would have to take a different turn completely. That's my humble opinion.
And the overall goal of this program is to just get kids prepared for kindergarten?
There's a bunch of things that you would do in a pre-K program. One of the things is you're getting children prepared, particularly in the socialization in third grade and in fourth grade. For children who aren't in third and fourth grade programs, kindergarten is a
3 and
tougher
4-year-olds.
task. 3 and 4 year.
Yeah.
I'm saying grades again.
Yeah.
No, excuse me.
Like, ooh.
Third, 3 and 4-year-olds here, we graduated them already. 3 and 4-year-old children, we're preparing them for kindergarten. We're also taking an early look at their academic abilities, very basic academic abilities. We're looking at their socialization skills, and we're working on those. So it's a package of things we're looking at. I'm a believer that early childhood education is critical if we can do it. I really believe in it. And I just think, my humble opinion is we ought to give this a shot. And Kevin agrees. And I think we're already in relatively good stead because we can do a little bit of room here. And we have a good partner who's very interested in doing it. Not that we'd have to go with that provider, but we have someone who's very interested in it and has done a good job in other areas for us. And understands, I went over some of the guidelines for it, she already knew. And not to tell her anything, she knew.
Would it only be fair to go to the other daycare providers in the area to ask them if they would want to participate as well? Because
we would.
Acorn Landing, if it's free here, you're not sending your kid to Acorn Landing, you're bringing your kid to Frankfurt for free. And that lady's business is
That's been an issue that's
gone.
been discussed in other districts, that's absolutely true. Right now, I believe the other program in town, I believe that serves as a Susquehanna, I believe they do, does that sound right?
second home, yeah.
Second Home does. Acorn Landing, that's a much smaller one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. That could be, and that certainly isn't our.
And what are
intent.
the guidelines for those facilities to have proper equipment?
Well,
Insurance-wise
there's a couple
and,
things that go into this. One is the square footage requirement is 950 square feet, which is a relatively good-sized classroom. It also needs to be near, but not, it doesn't have to have a classroom in the, a bathroom in the classroom, but it needs to be near.
Within a certain.
When you have a 3-year-old going to the bathroom, you have to send an adult with the child, obviously. Those are the major things. we are allowed to add into the grant, dollars for, minor renovation. You can't build an addition,
Right.
but you can renovate a room, you can add some equipment,
Furniture,
pardon?
furniture appropriate.
Furniture, those kinds of things
Change.
can be part of the grant, as I understand it.
Yeah,
We did the webinar, took care of the webinar, which was revealing to some degree, but not totally, they never are. They're just a taste of what you're going to get into. When you get into the real application, they go into great detail on it, just like we found out
and
with
what
that.
The
about
other-
our preschool teachers?
Pardon?
Like, have you talked with our preschool teachers? How are they feeling about this?
We have talked to them about it, and they seem to be understanding and receptive to it.
Okay.
One of the things that they're concerned about is our existing program growing out of our range, if you will, with numbers. We have 17 in each of
17
the
now, yeah.
classes, and a couple possibilities on the horizon. So, some of the children, of course, will be graduating to kindergarten or moving on to kindergarten, and everybody moves up, and that'll redo the numbers a bit, but yeah.
And then what happens if the external facility decides that this is not something they wanna pursue the following year? Right, so how long are they signed up for, and then what if they pull it and say, I'd rather go back to
Yeah, they
private?
They could, I think it's unlikely. I do think the idea of reaching out to more than one facility is important, and we will do that. I think we have to do that in order to be fair. I also think that there is, at the kind of money that they're talking about, 16, I think it was 16.5 or 16.3, I'd have to look.
16.3, yeah.
16.3, for the vendors. I think they can do pretty well with those kind of dollars. And
Except knowing that they have to hire a certified teacher, so it's not like all that money is just their tuition money.
they
So
they
do,
need
but they
to
don't
hire.
have to hire them at our numbers, they can hire them at their dollars. They don't,
So are we-
They don't tell you what you have to pay them?
no, they do not. Not that let me just answer that, not that I know of. I don't think they do. I think that's a local choice. And also, if you think of a program in Bergen County with salaries in Bergen County versus a program down in Burlington County, the salaries are different. And it's just the way it is. So yeah, I do think that's the case. But
So the grant takes care of the salaries, the equipment, the cost to run the whole program?
It should,
Or
although what
are
Chris
we
is
gonna-
worried about is that
It's
he doesn't know if it's
all on
100%
us,
true.
right?
Yeah,
That's what
my
I
understanding is some of the money in the first year, this is what I'm told by the county.
Yeah.
Is that you can use up to, I believe, 20,000 towards transportation, but after that, transportation is not included. Now, that is a major concern of mine, certainly something that really needs to be answered because that would most likely cause a delay in the implementation of the program and when to start. Because,
So
speaking
under
to
this,
the,
transportation is required for a 3-year-old who should be in a car seat?
There's 85 kids,
How-
we're talking about 85 kids here, right?
Yeah.
yeah, so
And how,
that's
so
one-
each bus stop now, you have to have somebody buckling a 3-year-old kid into their car
potentially,
seat?
yes.
No,
The
you
mother-
have to
the
have
mothers
them.
The parents are allowed to come on
The
and
mothers go
put
out.
their
Parents
kids
are allowed
into,
to come on our buses,
they're
but
allowed
not
to come in and
on,
put them onto into
but
the
not
seat.
on the school craft or
Oh,
whatever.
they're contracted.
Yeah, no,
buses.
we use them as well,
And
They
they
can?
come on,
we allow that.
sure,
Oh.
we do it every time.
I'm just thinking of the length of a route. Now you have,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, I'm a chatty Cathy sometimes. So I'm gonna get on that bus and be like, hey, Mrs. Gardner, what's going on? Oh, yeah, blah, blah. And I'm standing there talking, but then there's me that's behind the bus waiting. That's like, what is taking this lady so long to get this kid in the bus? And it's gonna be a time frame there. So if we're trying to keep our buses under an hour, now you're picking up 85 kids, which is
A great number of our young kids are dropped off
transport.
morning and afternoon.
Our current preschool doesn't provide busing
Right.
unless you have an IEP, so they all have to be.
Right,
So
that's
I
true,
think,
that's
They
true.
have to sign off,
So I
if they don't
think-
want the busing, then
Yeah.
they sign off, we still gotta provide the busing.
and
Yeah,
car
I
seats, and that's
understand,
gonna be
I
a,
understand.
and then your car seat's here by the window, but Johnny got on, and now you're leaning over Johnny to get into,
Well, no,
I mean, it's,
is it car seats though?
for 3 years old, you
Yeah, they
better
have car
believe
seats.
it's
So
a car
85
seat.
cars. 50 car seats, say 38,
Well, the
five
one,
of them
I'll tell you, the one
were-
question they didn't answer for me is whether the other students, not the IEP students, are, what the transportation issue was on that. The details in our webinar, it's a 1 hour webinar, it was sketchy, they usually are. When we get the actual application, the training then would be probably an 8 hour training or something typical. So we'll get a lot more detail when we get to that point. There are issues, there's no question about it. I think what they're looking to do, as we hinted at before, is infusing the responsibilities for transportation back to the local. That would be
So
typical.
we're applying for this, or are we gonna vote on
And
whether or
this
not we
is-
apply
Well,
for it?
we would certainly not do this without full approval of the board.
This is, and this is for 180 days a year, so just quickly, if a facility took 30 of our kids, they're getting $490,000 for 180 days a year. Their facility probably runs 12 months out of the year, so so the parents would pay for the other months, or say you work in education and you don't need that summer month, they need to, they need to sustain on the 500,000 minus the teacher salary, even if you say, I mean,
They were dropping off at those facilities as well. We're picking up at homes, dropping off at those facilities with our buses.
That has not been determined yet, but we do some of that already, right, Chris?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
already
We do drive
Well,
to the
yeah.
daycares.
We already do
we
some
got
of
to
that.
daycares, right?
Some of the details I just don't know because it hasn't been released yet.
I mean, for me, I mean, it's worth a shot with the reduced lunch and us being in the lower tier, and that's probably gonna, could knock us out of this. The state could say, you don't even qualify for this, so
Yeah.
then we don't need to have a big discussion on it.
Right.
I mean, and if the state grants it to us, do we have to take it, or we could say, no, thank you?
I haven't heard anything about that. I could check on that for what we know. Like I said, almost every district in county has it to some degree. Some I think are still phasing it in, but I believe all but 2 others have it. Just reading that, Jim?
Yeah, we just got it.
Just got it, yeah.
Well,
And Andover just got it.
June 6th or June 1st is like June 12th. June 12th, the last day
Have
of
to
school,
get it.
is the day that we're having a whole open house, 7
Right.
hours, and kids
So-
can come and go, and that's our opening day.
So if there were 55 students, so I'm saying we're putting out 30 to other programs. So that brings 800,000 into the school for the in-district students that would come to the school and bring $800,000. Does that really help our budget? Or we can't put grant money in
No,
a
you
budget
can't
anyway?
use it.
Well, it would just become a preschool, I guess you could consider it a grant. You can put some,
I mean, would we spend $800,000 in a year on those?
I wouldn't be
Well,
surprised.
if you need
Salaries.
Two buses.
You're allowed
Out
to-
the classrooms and.
Yeah, you cannot, so,
Make
Yeah,
a door for
you
a
have to-
bathroom.
You need to
have
hire
to
somebody
have-
straight out of college, like,
have to have-
like you need like a really
So, like,
cute
in
young
the
girl that's
funding-
gonna-
everyone has to have a center, so you have to have enough furniture and center
Yeah,
for that curriculum that you pick. So if you're picking
But this is annually,
creative
so the first year,
curriculum-
yeah, but then the second year, you're getting
Yeah.
800,000, you already bought the furniture, you're not buying new furniture.
so in the first year, yeah, there are some
But it can
costs
only
you
go
put
towards
in.
the pre-K, it's not helping our budget,
it goes
it's
for
not
that
like,
busing too, the busing.
Yeah,
for the busing for the
So busing, well,
kids.
busing's only in the first year, they give you an allowance for it.
$20,000.
But in there, so if you have kids that are classified, they're part of the count, but you don't get the funding from the grant for those students, that
Oh.
comes out of your regular budget.
Right.
You are able to offset some other expenses with the grant for upkeep of the spaces, whether it's custodial, cleaning, the nurse, you can,
Pro rata
offset
share of
some-
the
yeah.
principal.
yes, some of the principal expense can get prorated
Child's
to
17?
that program.
No, because
No,
IEPs no, never mind, sorry.
Yeah, so
Like
there are certain
maintenance?
expenses to try and
Okay.
offset, not
Mowing.
significant, but there are.
Lighting, electric,
Yes, you
Oh,
would
you're so
calculate based on square footage, but yes, so there are some items you can offset, but
They're little dollars.
they're not huge.
Little.
They're not
And so
huge.
voting on this is in the
this would probably be June, there's no vote
Oh,
on it.
there's no vote on
Oh,
it
no,
tonight.
no,
No, we're just
no, no,
Discuss,
discussing it.
okay.
No,
We can
When
roll it over.
when do you want more information?
This is informational. I would imagine that if the board wanted to take a vote on this, it would be in July.
We don't have a meeting in July, Mr.
Oh, that's
Rooney.
right,
It'd be June or a
We're not
special
done.
meeting.
but, yeah, that's right.
Did we last year? We had to have one last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that
The-
was,
Because we probably will know a lot more, maybe a little bit before July, but when those serious detailed meetings go with all the state bureaucrats. This was a little more of a pep rally than a detailed, program, it just was. So,
one thing to consider is that Sussex, Wantage and Lafayette, our sister sending districts to High Point, do have this currently.
Yes.
Lafayette rolled it out in January and Sussex, Wantage had it before that, I
they
think.
had it
right?
before, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, that's.
How do they not have free lunch? How do we not have so many free lunches? People aren't applying for it, right, Kate?
Could be, I don't know.
Some aren't, but we've always been pretty much about 8 or 9% total, so,
We could push that.
some,
I don't think it's gonna go up enough to matter.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be
I don't think so.
Okay.
We can certainly push it and try to encourage people. I don't think so. Again, this is in, and I mentioned
Right, yeah.
last
just
month, I said
discussion.
I was gonna talk about it this month. Gave you all the details a couple of times now, just sharing it so we can have an open public discussion about it.
Right, yeah, alright, so now we're gonna talk to Mr. Sylvester about,
Two other things I do apologize. Frankfurt Township, meeting, we have one tomorrow night, I believe, Mayor?
Yes.
17, we're gonna talk about our budget a little bit, and then, teacher appreciation week, I just wanted to go on record thanking, the PTA for an incredible job they did again this year, and, just amazing what they did, and,
agree.
every day, something new, they did a wonderful job, so,
Even Mr. Mooney got a few carnations.
thank you. I will give her very
They
nice.
sold an unbelievable amount of carnations,
Yeah, that was awesome,
hundreds,
yeah,
What's that?
they sold hundreds of carnations.
Yeah, it's
I don't remember, I wish I remembered the exact number.
Yeah.
very nice, thank you.
that's amazing. Alright, Mr. Sylvester, you're up with the principal's report.
Alright, so the month of May was pretty busy. We had the spring musical, Annie Junior. There were 4 presentations of this musical, 2 during school assemblies, and 1 on both Friday and Saturday nights. Congratulations to Mrs. Layton, Tom Maroney, and Heather Holler, as well as all of the other staff members who participated to put a wonderful production together. We started state testing last week. We had ELA on Monday, May 6th, and Tuesday, May 7th in the middle school, followed by our 5th and 8th grade students completing their science testing on Wednesday and Thursday. We will continue our testing up in the middle school in math on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, followed by our 3rd and 4th grade students taking their state tests next week, and then another week of makeups, or actually, sorry, take that back. Middle school makeups are next week as well. Our Governor's Teacher of the Year, Miss Jamie Wolf. On Friday, May 10th, we were able to recognize Miss Jamie Wolf as FTS's Teacher of the Year at the annual Governor's Educator of the Year awards ceremony. Jamie has been a dedicated teacher at FTS for the past 10 years, leading our staff as the Vice President of the FTEA, being a lead for our 8th grade trip, and being a beloved teacher for all her students. There is a brief blurb. Ms. Wolf's commitment to the school, students, and parents and community is beyond reproach. She strives to make a difference in the lives of her students by simply asking questions and showing genuine interest and care for each individual. As a result of the personal connection she has nurtured, many students return to Frankfurt to visit Ms. Wolf during their high school years and beyond to thank her for preparing them so well. This incredible educator epitomizes the criteria and honor of being Educator of the Year here for Sussex County. Her positive attitude and passion for teaching is contagious among her colleagues. Ms. Wolf considers teaching to be a privilege, and that is shown every day in her classroom and beyond. Ms. Wolf's unwavering dedication to teaching is demonstrated time and time again through her commitment to her students, community, and her own professionalism. She was always looking to improve herself through professional development and research-based practices. She is beyond deserving of this award. She is an outstanding educator and should be recognized for her efforts. The Summer Enrichment Program ran their annual clothing drive this past Saturday. Community members were able to drop off bags of used clothes to the school, who then donated them, and the school received money based on how many pounds of clothing were donated. That was led by Ms. Jess Nunziato and Mr. Greg Simons. Jess, do you know how many pounds of clothes?
I don't. Mr.
We haven't
Simmons
got
was
it.
supposed to contact them today,
gonna
so
say,
I
I
don't
think-
know if he was able to get a number yet or not.
Right. The Great Cereal Race is going to occur on Friday, May 17th. The FTA Pride is hosting the annual Great Cereal Domino Race. This event benefits local food pantries and will be live streamed through our Facebook. Let's see if we can get our cereal boxes to circle the school. The PTA's 8th grade dance will occur on Saturday, May 18th. This event will kick off with pictures at Struck Park at 5 p.m., followed by dinner and dancing at the Glenbrook in Wantage. We will have our middle school spring concert on Wednesday, May 22nd. The Distinguished Scholars Program Showcase will be on Wednesday, May 29th. The 5th grade spring concert will happen on May 30th, and then May is the month of field trips. On May 9th, the kindergarten went to the growing stage. On May 20th and 21st, our 5th grade students will go to Camp Mason.
May 15th, minors game
Yeah,
for the
minors
4th
game.
grade.
May 15th, minors game. May 23rd, 2nd grade to Turtleback Zoo. May 24th, 7th grade to Stokes School of Conservation. May 28th, 4th grade to Sterling Hill Mine Museum. May 30th, 6th grade to Medieval Times. May 31st, 1st grade to the Planetarium. We also had 2 cases of harassment, intimidation, and bullying this past month. And we received our grade report for the 2022-2023 district harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Our report card was a score of 72 out of 78, which is rather well.
Thank you.
I just wanted to also mention, obviously, we coordinate what we say so that what I'm saying, David doesn't repeat what he says. I hadn't already said. But whatever either one of us is saying, we're both saying, just so people understand that we're both behind all the statements that we make, because, but they need to be coordinated so we don't repeat. So, thank you.
And just one thing, to the board, and I know I think I text Mr. Mooney and Mr. Sylvester, at the minors game, the chaperones are to not partake in any alcoholic beverages being sold at the stadium. Well, that's a great fundraiser, I guess, at the stadium. Our chaperones need to resist the urge to partake
Drink beer.
and or overindulge. Partake at all.
It seems weird that you have to say that.
Yes. Okay, so then we have the board committee section, communications and public relations. We have tonight's board meeting, tomorrow night is a PTA meeting, as they said, the Camp Mason trip, the 20th and 21st. 20th to 24th, Angelic SLA, testing for grades 3 and 4. We have on the 22nd, the art show open house from 6 to 8, and the middle school spring concert from 7:30 to 9. We're closed on Memorial Day, 5/27, 5/29 DSP showcase, 5:30 5th grade spring concert. So then it moves on to policy and curriculum. So Charlene is going to give a little update.
So the majority of the curriculum committee meeting was spent on talking about the pre-K program, which Mr. Mooney has already reviewed. We spoke briefly about the cycle classes that are going to be put into place now that the consumer science program is not going to be there. It looks like there are 4 classes kind of on the table for discussion. Music appreciation in 5th grade, and then 6th, 7th, and 8th grade will be doing digital literacy, financial literacy, and career and college readiness. And then at the next board meeting, there's going to be a presentation of the new K-5 science program, which is called Mystery Science. So we'll get more information in the next month at the meeting.
Thank you,
That's it.
Charlene. Next, we have finance, physical plant, and transportation, and Mr. Lessard has a sewer discussion.
Yeah, just a brief update. We received letters from both the township and the borough regarding the sewer connection. They were asking us about connecting or our interest. I guess there was some interest by the county to connect the homestead, I don't know if does that include the state police facility as well? Not sure.
It includes a bunch of county properties,
County properties,
not
okay.
the state police.
Okay, so at this point, I've been researching, the discussions from back in 2008 or 9 when this originally came up. Certainly, there are no meetings scheduled at this point. We gotta talk to the engineers and we're looking into the permits regarding our current septic systems, whether or not they still can be grandfathered for one-time in-kind replacement, just so I have all of the information. I've been emailing with the town about the costs to connect, usage fees, how that's calculated, how it's adjusted over time, but at this point, we're in early stages of discussions. I mean, as a business administrator, and when we met before with the town, one of the big questions is, or two of the big questions was, A, how to pay for the install, because I'm expecting it to be well over $1 million. In all likelihood, that's not an official number, it's just a guesstimate based on how construction's been going. And how, with that in mind, that's not just a straight tax levy item, so it'd have to be some sort of bond is likely. So there's a lot to be figured out in that front, as well as when this was originally discussed, there was going to be a big pump station on our field, which was going to use up a significant portion of this upper baseball field, which would render it not possible to have baseball on it. So that was another concern. So these are all things we gotta discuss as to if we're going to connect, when the connection would have to happen, how it's funded and how it's going to be configured, because it would be a major project trenching through the school modifications and then how it's going to affect our playing fields. So more to come
Thank you.
as it goes.
Okay.
Certainly when those do happen, we'll get the facilities, finance facilities, will be participating in that as well.
And the fire drill and lockdown drill are to be determined. So that brings us to the consent agenda. The following items have been deemed to be matters of routine business and will be voted on by one motion. A motion to vote on the consent agenda?
There's the annual
one question.
consent first.
Yes.
Chris, this is a question for you. So number 6B, it says designation of financial depository, legal bank depository for school funds. There's no conflict of interest if that's like our personal bank, right?
No.
Okay.
Need a motion?
I need a motion.
I'll make it.
Second,
Resolved that the Frankfurt Township Board of Education accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the above identified annual consent agenda items numbered 2024-0513-4 through 2024-0513-8. Kathleen Adam,
yes.
Jamie Armando,
Yes.
Caitlin Fredo's absent, Mandy Joust, yes, Jennifer Noust,
Yes.
Vicky Perez is no longer on the board, so I'll say Charlene Molnar.
Oh,
Yes.
Jesus.
John Tiger's absent, Leif Anderson, and Jesse Vaughn is absent. It's alright.
Okay.
That's all right.
Chris.
Yeah, I just made him Jesse, really, it's Jesse, absent. That brings us into the regular consent agenda, and the following items are a matter of routine business and will be voted on in one motion. Can I get a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Resolved that the Frankfurt Township Board of Education accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the above identified regular agenda items numbered 2024-0513-9 through 2024-0513-36. Kate Adam.
Yes.
Jamie Armando.
Yes.
Caitlin Fredo's absent. Jennifer Noust.
Yes.
Charlene Molnar.
Yes.
John Tiger's absent. Jesse Vaughn is absent. Leif Anderson.
Yes.
Mandy Joust, yes. Motion to go into the second session of public comment.
I'll make it.
Second.
Any public comment? Motion to close public comment.
Second.
Other items for the good of the order, Kate?
Yep, I just wanna recognize and say thank you to Kathleen and Michael Steinhardt, for donating $100 to the FTS Tech Educational Program.
Thank you. Any other items of discussion? Our next regular scheduled meeting is on June 10th, 2024. Motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everyone.